Good morning, my friends. How are you? I am continuing today with our exploration of the mystery of death and want to continue now on the topic of the soul's journey through cosmic time. So, as I've said before, it's very important that if you're engaging in this conversation with me, that you may want to look at some of the previous posts on the mystery of death and where we are right now in this 12th installment of our exploration. Also, a whole series on mystery of I am before that. If you do that, then what I'm going to say today will automatically and logically follow. So listen to today's post or watch it, but then go back and see if you can see the logical argument for what I'm exploring with you, and where we are right now is exploring what have been referred to as the Akashic Chronicles or the Akashic Records. And these are actually experiences of people who have traveled through cosmic time, through different lokas. Loka means location. Different universes, different planets, different experiences, dimensions. This is all part of literature that has been explored by mystical traditions all over the world. Now, of course, in this series, I'm trying my best to give you a scientific corresponding view. And that's a problem because there's no one-to-one correspondence between the scientific understanding of reality, which is based on a physicalist ontology, which means matter is the ontological primitive, and then a spiritual understanding, which is based on a completely different ontology, where the ontological primitive is pure consciousness and everything else is a manifestation of that. Nevertheless, let's explore. Okay, so where are we now? We are on installment 10 about the soul's journey through cosmic time. Now, even as I say this, it is a metaphor. The soul doesn't take a journey. Once again, even though I say the soul's journey through cosmic time, the soul doesn't take a journey. The soul, which is consciousness, it changes state. And once it changes state, then everything that's associated with the change state changes. Perceptions, thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations. And the interpretation of those ultimately is what we call everyday reality. So right now, everyday reality, which we call the physical world, includes our physical body, is a particular activity in regular waking state of consciousness. This is what we call the physical world. Every day we also have dream state of consciousness in which this world disappears, and there's an amorphous, ambiguous, paradoxical, contradictory, dreamy, cloudy experience in which we are embedded also in the dream. We call it the dream. And then in deep sleep, all activity goes away. But there is awareness. There's no conscious awareness. There is awareness. So we have talked about that already in the past. We don't need to address it. Please go back and check out the previous videos if you want to understand that the soul does not journey through time. It merely changes its state of being. And what is the soul? The soul is a infinite consciousness, an aspect of pure consciousness, but an aspect of pure consciousness seeded with the interpretation of past experiences that we call karma, and as a result of that, intentions, desires, imagination, aspirations that shift the experience and change the state of being into a new state. And that's happening all the time, by the way. Thoughts are shifting, perceptions are shifting, emotions are shifting. Consciousness has three activities: cognition, which means perception, knowing, understanding; reflection, thought. That's first activity of consciousness, cognition. Second activity of consciousness is emotions, which is sometimes irrational and yet more profound. Trusting the irrational wisdom of the heart or the emotions. So that's the second activity of consciousness. And a third activity of consciousness is volition, making a choice, or having an intention, and then executing that intention. Those are the three activities of consciousness: cognition, which includes imagination, and thought and perceptions, and they're all entangled. So imagination, thought, perceptions are entangled, and they give us the experience of the regular world, 8 hours a day. So once again, cognition, emotions, and volition. Only three things. When state changes, then everything changes, because knowledge is different, experience is different, perception is different, imagination is different, reality is different, biology is different. Biology is an expression of the state of consciousness. So when we understand that, then we also understand that soul just doesn't actually travel. It just keeps changing its state, and each state determines its own loka. Loka means the location of experience, remembering that even though we think of location of experience in terms of space and time, actually it's a frequency domain of a particular state of consciousness. Heavens, hells, purgatories, lokas, different dimensions, all these are different frequency domains of consciousness, not different locations in space and time. Current theories of multiverse suggest that there may be infinite universes and infinite versions of you, but you cannot connect with them because they are in different dimensions. But I'm going a little deeper than that, and I'm saying you can connect with all these universes and these locations and your different identities through shifts in consciousness. And that's what the Akashic Chronicles are. That's what the Akashic, they're the explorations by explorers of consciousness. We call them mystics, but they're a motley group of sages. They're a motley group of sages, psychotics, and geniuses. And they tread the razor's edge between this world and infinite other worlds. So let's see what some of the Akashic Chronicles are saying. These are my notes from personal experience of exploring the Akashic field through meditation, reflection, dreams, imagination, yoga nidra, and many other practices that we don't have time to go into right now, but I will share these practices with you as we journey in the realm of consciousness. So today I want to read a few notes that are gathered from personal experience, but also from the mystical traditions and the explorers of the Akashic records, the explorers of the Akashic Chronicles. Chit Akash, Chit means consciousness, Akash, the infinite, borderless realm of the source of all experience. So let's define the soul as awareness seeded with memories and experiences and desires and imagination from past karma. That's all the soul is. It's pure consciousness seeded with interpretation of past experience that leads to imagination, desire, memory, all as the karmic software. Karma, the vasanas, the seeds of experience, and tendencies, and sanskaras, memories are all part of the software of the soul. As metaphorically, it travels through cosmic time, but in fact only changes state. So now I'm going to read to you, and the language may sound arcane because it's mystical, but it can be understood as shifts in aspects of being. That's all. At physical death, the body disintegrates and the soul begins its first period of sleep in the astral body. The astral body is the subtle body of mind, intellect, and ego. During the sleep, the soul remains as always, non-local, but no fluctuations of consciousness, therefore no experience, just like the sleep we have every day. Just as sleep is important in the physical body and to the physical body, so this sleep is important to allow the soul to rejuvenate itself. I would say for consciousness to deconstruct its habitual certainties and slowly proliferate in the field of dreamlike amorphous ambiguity till even that settles down into deep sleep. So when this is necessary for the soul to rejuvenate itself. When the soul awakens from this deep slumber, it sheds its previous certain attachments, not all, and it is said to float in the astral atmosphere until it eventually starts to resurrect itself. So for a time, the soul is in the astral plane and continues its evolution, moving to higher astral frequencies of astral life. During this astral life, a whole new world of experiences begins. The soul meets the souls of other beings encountered in the physical world if they are now on that same vibratory frequency. In the astral planes, there are also objects and other beings, and they are vibrating in the same frequency as you are as a soul. All communication is telepathic. When spirit vibrates in the world of physical objects, its vibration is very slow and dense. It appears to be still, frozen spirit. Matter is frozen spirit or frozen consciousness. Similarly, when it is at a very high frequency, it is also still. At both extremes, it is still, and in between the whole range of movement, it is creating experience. So extremely high frequency, still and dynamic. Extremely low, dense frequency, still and inertia in between. Dynamic, fluctuating as experience. At both extremes, it is still, and in between is the whole range of the movement of creation. In the astral world of experience, the disembodied soul can visit planes of vibration lower than itself at will, but can only visit higher planes through evolution. Just as when you pass particles through finer and finer sieves, any particle can pass back to a grosser level, but only advance when it has reached the correct level of refinement. So you see, the soul can go back to the previous planes of existence only if it is very refined. And then as it evolves, it goes to higher frequencies of existence. And when I say goes, again, that's metaphor. It just changes its state. The astral plane is a manifested reflection of the imagined ideal. So imagination is very crucial. Imagination is tied to thinking, to belief. So whatever you believe and you imagine is where you go. Belief is a thought that you hold to be true. Imagination, belief, and perception are all entangled. So basically you're imagining the loka that you will ultimately appear in. Just like this loka, physical world, is the loka of our imagination as well, through our previous constructs of reality. We are the imagination of ourselves. This world that we experience is the projection of the imagination of ourselves. The scenery on the astral plane is a projection of thought forms inhabiting it. This scenery is also a projection of thought forms inhabiting it. Like everything else, it is a manifestation of imagination. Imagination is a function of consciousness. If I say, imagine your house, or imagine a rainbow, or imagine a snow-clad mountain, or imagine an ocean. As soon as I say it, a picture shows up, a thought shows up, a sound may show up, a sensation may show up, a feeling or imagination may show up. All these experiences are entangled, and they are the projection of our conditioned soul, which leads to the conditioned mind, intellect, ego, and there you go. The imagination expresses itself. All physical reality is the projection of these thought forms or entangled sensations, perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts. Like everything else, it is a manifestation of imagination. The spirit pervades all of space, and the experiences on the other side, which is not another side, which is just a shift in state, match the beliefs and expectations of the life here in the physical body. Depending on your level of evolution, you will experience your ideas of heaven or hell in this life when you reach that other side or you change state. There are many astral planes, and even in these planes, your experiences will correspond to everything that you have previously imagined. Your own heavens, hells, purgatories, and everything else to work through on the physical plane itself. Every day could be a hell, a heaven, a purgatory, depending on how you're feeling. And then you project that to your environment. So in the astral world, everything is created similarly through the shifting of consciousness. And this happens much faster in the astral world because it's more subtle, and subtle is therefore more malleable. In the astral world, you can imagine anything and actualize it into an experience in consciousness. To the person in the astral world, everything seems just as it does here, the physical world. Why? Because the physical world is also the interpretation of a state of consciousness. So you take it for granted. You show up in this world and you take it for granted. You think this is real till you wake up from this dream, and then you begin to upgrade all the other dreams that you've had as well. So evolution on the physical or astral planes is gradual. It takes time. All suffering and all enjoyments are in the imagination, in the astral plane, just as they occur right now. The imagination, the internal suffering, which comes from not knowing our true self, grasping, clinging, recoiling, resisting, identifying with the ego, the fear of death, these all come about as a result of not being experientially grounded in the true self. So even on the astral plane, all appears to be real. In the same way, all appears to be real here. The skeptics, cynics, and unbelievers in the physical plane will be the same skeptics, unbelievers in the astral planes. They just won't realize that they are in fact in the plane that they don't believe exists. It's a shift of state which you take for granted. The body or personality you inhabit in the astral plane is the one you most identified with in the previous plane. So even in this, yesterday I had a beard, today I don't. Okay. Yesterday was a different body at every level. Particles, molecules, atoms. This is a different body. But I still fool myself into thinking that this is the same body. But in fact, this is not the same body, because there's no such thing as a physical body. It's an interpretation of shifting sensations and perceptions. So that can happen faster, the shift of the morphing of the body in the astral plane, because it is more subtle. But here also we can morph. We lose weight, we gain weight, we become stronger, we change shape, we grow a beard, etc. We are morphing the appearance of our body all the time. This is an imaginary body. All physical bodies are imaginary bodies, but in the astral plane, there's less reification, therefore more modulation with the appearance of the body. Of course, you can change the appearance of the physical body even today, here and now, but due to social conditioning, most people have accepted the usual process of aging. 65, retire, go to Florida, whatever, end up in a nursing home. Those are our social constructs, but they don't have to be. You can even now change the physical appearance of your body and the biological experience of your body. Since in every seed of desires the promise of future blossoms, fruits and forests, it is the desire, the intention, the imagination, the creativity that is inherent in our consciousness, depending on the state of expansion of consciousness, that actually becomes what we call the experience on that plane. Evolution is really the process of fulfillment of desire that is being worked out through these ongoing cycles. In the astral world, you fulfill and refine the desires that are left over from your last physical life. You also refine all your knowledge and experiences from the so-called material world. The astral world is like a graduate school for your previous physical incarnation. In the astral plane, the soul stores up energy for manifesting its higher, more frequent, more evolutionary desires, so that it can be fulfilled in what then appears to be that particular physical plane. So pretty interesting, and I can go further into this, and I think I will. The moment you wake up of the dream, then you realize infinite dreams are available, and every dream, if it is shared with a group of people, then manifests its own loka. That's the meaning of the expression infinite universes come and go in the vast expanse of consciousness that are like motes of dust in a beam of light. The beam of light is awareness, and as it expands, then you see more universes, more experiences, more knowers, more modes of knowing, more objects known, more seers, more modes of seeing, and more sceneries available to you as your dream that is projecting, as your experience that you interpret as a physical reality. So death is an opportunity to upgrade the dream. And keep dreaming because there's no end to them, and keep actualizing those dreams into experience because there's no end to them too. Until you can say, been there, done that, take a rest, sleep in the astral domain, and then take the next creative plunge into the next loka. And I will explore this with you more and even share techniques on how you can actually visit these lokas, even now, even in this loka. you can have experiences of other lokas. But for today, I think I will stop here because there's a lot to explore. Hi, Patty. Hi, Patty Brito. She's enjoying this talk. And I will, as I said, keep exploring these lokas. So maybe we can actually have a, what do you call a preview, a trailer, a short trailer of where we are headed next. And that is what death is. An opportunity, a creative opportunity to reinvent life, literally. A creative opportunity to reinvent life. This is why death makes life possible. I'm going to end with a little poem from Tagore. He says, in one salutation to you, God, infinite being, let my senses spread out and touch this world at your feet. Like a rain cloud of July hung low with its burden of unshed showers, let all my mind bend down at your door in one salutation to you, infinite being. Let all my songs gather together their diverse strains into a single current and flow to a sea of silence in one salutation to you. Like a flock of homesick cranes flying night and day back to their mountain nests, let all my life take its voyage to its eternal home in one salutation to you. But that eternal home is not a destination. It is here, it is now, and it is the self. Beyond all the conditioning, beyond all the secret passages and the dark alleys and the ghost-filled attics of the mind, is you, infinite being. That's all we have to remember. Okay, shall we choose a mantra? Yeah, let's choose a mantra that kind of summarize this. Om Amritam Nama. Om Amritam. Amrit is the nectar of immortality. So let this be our mantra today. Om Amritam Nama. Thank you. God bless. We will continue on this aspect of the soul's journey through cosmic time.